High school dropouts affect us all. Consider these statistics from the Alliance for Excellent Education. It estimates that high school dropouts cost the U.S. economy $329 billion in lost wages, taxes, and productivity. Dropouts are more likely to be incarcerated, to rely on public programs and social services, and to go without health insurance. Despite these facts, area educators are working hard to help all students graduate. WGVU is working with them. Across West Michigan, there are school districts where the dropout rate exceeds 25%. Today on Newsmakers, we go to the front lines. We talk with educators engaging with students. In Grand Rapids, we talk with 4 people considered champions of education, men and women clearly devoted to learning initiatives and, most importantly, uniquely connecting with at-risk students, rediscovering creativity, igniting a passion for knowledge that inspires a work ethic for lifelong success. Bobby Springer is the director of the Office of Multicultural Affairs at Grand Valley State University and is working with Grand Rapids Public Schools for the My Gear Up program. Diana Seeger is the president of the Grand Rapids Community Foundation and is a major force behind Challenge Scholars, a program bridging the education gap, providing tuition and preparing low-income students for college. Derek Coach O. Owens is club director of the Boys and Girls Club of Grand Rapids Commonwealth. He's an education champion who's been mentoring in, after, and around the schools that need his help the most. Teresa Weatherall-Neal sets the tone for Grand Rapids Public Schools, a superintendent and innovator who's been developing a parent university and engaging the community with a listening tour hearing directly from parents of the students in her district. American Graduate, Let's Make It Happen is public media's long-term commitment to supporting community-based solutions to the dropout crisis. Supported by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, more than 80 public radio and television stations have joined forces with over 1,000 partners and at-risk schools across 30 states. These are the stories of our local champions. Bobby Springer is Associate Director of the Office of Multicultural Affairs at Grand Valley State University. He leads up the My Gear Up program for Grand Rapids Public Schools.
He talks to kids and he knows how a student is feeling when it comes to education.
Bobby, for almost all of his career, really has been about really being a champion to help kids succeed and bring in kind of needed resources around them to do that. And he does that in really powerfully creative ways, in quiet, unassuming ways that seem to bring about a big bang.
You work at a university, right? You're a leader in the Multicultural Affairs Department. I know your education journey. Others don't, so I know we're going to get into that here. So for you, education holds a very special place. It has helped to shape you, but it's been a long journey for you.
Yes, it has. Very, very humble beginnings in this whole process, and I really didn't value education. I mean, I went to school because I had to go to school, but not until I got into college and got around the right people did I really see the value of education.
So K through 12 for you, what kind of a student were you?
I did okay. In middle school, I probably did the best. Made the honor roll, honor society. But then when I got to high school, I was a pretty good athlete. I was a really good athlete. So I probably put more of my efforts in that direction, and I didn't try as hard in my classroom work. I mean, I did okay. I did C work, some Bs, but I probably could have did better if I would have put the same kind of effort that I put into sports, if I would have put that same effort, you know, into the classroom. When I look back, you know, once again, I'm in the field of education, and I share this with students in particular. If I had to do it all over again, I would put more in my studies.
So you can relate to teens. Nothing has really changed over the years, and you know that there are households, the same situation where maybe education isn't highlighted like it should be, and that's where you step in, right? You're with the Gear Up program.
These programs are so important because we can give those type of examples and take students to various activities, workshops, that they can see how they can do something differently. For example, I just got back 2 weeks ago from taking a group of students to Washington, D.C., 23 students and 4 chaperones. I was the only one who had ever been to D.C. before, so everybody on the trip were in this mode where, like, man, I've never experienced something like this before. So everybody's life has been changed. And that's what it's all about, taking someone out of their comfort zone where your thoughts, your dreams will never be like they were because you just experienced something that has altered your thinking forever.
For you, what's been the inspiration to help out young people, students, to achieve?
Just a reflection, of myself when I look at the students. I just remember many years ago I was in the same position that they're in, and if you would have went into the classroom, you would not have said, hey, there's Bobby Springer, he's going to go on to do this and that. I know that the world has so much to offer, and if they would just give themselves a chance, just like with sports, because they all connect with sports. I shared with them, I was an all-state basketball player. How do you become an all-state basketball player? You got to put the time in. I used to wake up at 7 a.m. in the morning. There's no one in the park but myself. But if you do that, every Saturday, and other days as well, you find yourself in a place that most people are not able to reach.
And the Gear Up program, take me through the steps of what needs to be accomplished.
We want them to be successful in high school and in college. We want them to go to college, but in order to make that a reality, we have to do the right things right now in the 7th grade, in the 8th grade, in the 9th grade, all the way up, if we want to go to college. And we have to give them that exposure. The goal is to take them to all 15 public universities in Michigan before they graduate. But I just want to give them exposure to let them know that this world, they can become anything that they want to become if they put in the hard work.
You look back in life, and here you are. You're on a college campus every day.
And I can't believe that I work for a university. I can't believe that I've been in higher education for 20 plus years, not from where I started. I mean, that's why I believe that all things are possible, if you work hard and if you believe in yourself.
Derek Coach O. Owens is director of the Seedman Club in the Boys and Girls Club of Grand Rapids Youth Commonwealth. He's making a difference in students' lives by sharing his own story, overcoming challenges while acquiring skills for preparing champions.
Oh, man, wow. Where do I start about Coach O?
He was like a mentor to me. Like, every time I needed some encouragement or somebody to talk to, I'll go to his office, and he'll always give me advice, and it was good advice.
The passion every day, puts a smile on the kids' faces, no matter, what mood he's in.
I could talk to him about anything, basically. Like, I could talk to him about basketball because he's a coach. I could talk to him about family life because he understands because he understands my life because he said his life was sort of like mine.
I met Coach O, and right off, from the get-go, you can tell someone who's passionate, about the kids.
I don't really got nobody to talk to about stuff like that because I don't really see my dad that much, but Coach O, I could always go talk to him. I got his number. He, the director at the Boys and Girls Club, so I could go talk to him whenever.
Oh yeah, Coach O, I believe, is the best person to make us the best Boys and Girls Club in America.
I always joke with him. My name is Derek Owens. What are my initials? D.O. Dude, all right, if I can do it, you can do it. That's my hope for every person that I meet, especially our children, because those are our most prized possessions.
As a young man, as a student, who were you, and what did you learn along the way as a child through those teenage years and then adulthood?
Wow, I'm glad you asked that question. I had a very humble journey, growing up in Sheriff Fisher Orphanage. not really know who I was, where I came from, propelled to the foster system, a couple of different homes. What really saved me, was a blessing for me, was going when I met a family by the name of Mr. and Mrs. William Booker. And Mr. Booker was a guy from the Detroit community who was a leader, simply put. He was the block club president. He started St. Teresa's Men's Club, and when we were in gang-infested territory, and he stood face to face against the gangs and said, "No, you're not going to do that here." And it was a visionary. He said, "Well, I'm going to start a St. Teresa's Men's Club for the kids to come off the street like a Boys and Girls Club." So watching him and taking that journey of growing up, watching the leader, Father Bob Moran, who told me, who gave me hope. He said, "Derek Owens, you can become anything you want to become. Let go of your baggage. Stop being mad at the world." Well, it was still a journey through high school where I loved basketball. I identified it, but I didn't play because I had off-court issues going on in my life. I was still going through some growing pains. Then I left, graduated from high school, with the last generation that went right to the auto company. But what saved me was a young man by the name of LeBlance Rowland gave me the opportunity to coach at Detroit St. Hedwig, which propelled my career because I got bit by the bug. It was my way of getting back into the game, and it just gave me identity. And all the things, I grew up in the turbulent 70s, and I saw that I thought were negative with kids, we had opportunity to make it right. When I walked through that door, the looks that I got on people's faces like, "Derek Owens? Really?" And some were happy. Some who had said I would never be nothing had to eat their words. I wasn't mad at them, but I wanted to show people that I grew up. All the things you thought I wasn't going to be, it emerged because the leaders that were put in my life, all those lessons from Mr. Booker and Father Bob, all came back to me. I wasn't the one that everybody thought was going to be that guy, but he taught me everything he knew. And you know what I found out about Coach Rachel was? He was a foster kid too. So here we had kindred spirits working together. He taught me everything he knew in 7 years.
So who are the kids you work with every day? What are their personality types?
A lot of times kids come to school with stuff. When I say stuff, you don't ever know what happened to that kid the night before. And you have to be able to get through the barriers. Remind me of myself a lot. That's why I probably connect with them, where I can tear down the barrier and say, "Hey, what's wrong, young man? What's wrong, young lady? Come into my office. Let's talk about this. Let's get you rooted so you can use this gift that you have and get the most out of this day."
So for you, you have an ideology.
Yes, I do.
Explain what it is now that you're here, you're working in the school systems here across Grand Rapids, you're now here at the Boys and Girls Club. What is the message? What is the delivery system that you provide to kids?
Wow, good question. My ideology and philosophy for the most part is building kids' self-esteem. The biggest thing for me in the Grand Rapids public school systems is kids come to school, second generation, third generation, who never had success in school. You gotta learn how to love yourself. You gotta learn how to read. It's not where you come from, it's where you're going. Let me share my story with you. Let me share my life journey to Grand Rapids with you. And don't tell me you cannot do it. I said, one day you're gonna leave Grand Rapids on a jet plane flying to your career. If I can do it, you can do it. That's my hope for kids, because I was the one that wasn't supposed to make it. I made
Champions. Diana Seeger is president of the Grand Rapids Community Foundation. She's taking the lead in creating dynamic programs, including Challenge Scholars at Harrison Park School.
Seeger, when you're at a meeting with her, she's very open, very relaxed, and she has the students in mind. And there's a lot of questions that are asked, and some tough questions that are asked. But at the end of the day, that's what it's about. There's going to be a lot of tough questions when you're talking about the future of our students and also the future of our community.
I'm not so sure I understood college, what that meant. I was really the first person in my family to go on to college. My dad had gone to a few courses when he was a very successful newspaper person and was a sports editor for years at the Detroit News. So the expectation of college, but what did that all mean? Also, I grew up in an era of a great deal of social change, which I'm sure everybody could say that they did. But during the 60s and 70s was a tumultuous time with regard to race relations, the Vietnam War, a whole host of things. And that had a tremendous influence on me too. So to convey social justice, to convey ideas as they relate to community change was really important. And the education was the only way I was going to be able to continue to convey my thoughts and ideas and put them into action. I have been proudly part of the nonprofit sector for my entire career. I believe very strongly in purpose and in mission. And it's not that the for-profit sector doesn't have that. The not-for-profit sector really, I would say, sings to me. It is absolutely essential to have the best leaders and the best volunteers, the best governing board members, the best of everything in our nonprofit sector. It is really the glue in our community. It is what makes this community great. Well, what Challenge Scholars is a program we started at Harrison Park School, which is a pre-K through 8th grade school. It's one of the largest schools in the Grand Rapids Public Schools, over 1,000 kids. And what we provided back then was for the 4th grade class back then by saying, you know, we are going to turn the school into an area where the college-going culture is promoted, where you can also receive services through the Kent School Services Network, where the teachers who are already marvelous can continue to say, here are some of the opportunities for you to graduate from high school, number one, and then realize that beyond high school that you have an opportunity to go into a credentialing program for a trade, shall we say, to go on to college. Well, turning this school into this magnificent experience for students and their families, being surrounded by the necessity of college through posters, and we have a college-going coordinator, Gwen Heatley, at the school, who really works with those families very, very strongly, and has increased the number of parents and the number of activities that the parents are involved in at the school. Parent engagement is a critical piece of this. So now, at each successive, where we have signed on those students who just finished 6th grade this year, and each successive 6th grade class will sign on as Challenge Scholars. And what we are signing on, we're signing it, the school district is signing it, the parents are signing it, the student is signing it, basically saying, I'm going to stick with my studies. I'm going to really do the best I know how. I'm going to attend school. I'm going to stay out of trouble. And when I graduate from Union High School, I'm going to have a variety of opportunity to look at. I can go to college. I can do anything that I put my mind to. And what we'll do is make sure that there's financial support for the families, and should there be any balance left, the Community Foundation will provide that support. And this is a program that will go on forever.
WGVU is proud to be a part of American Graduate Day. We continue the education discussion by speaking with local champions. Teresa Weatherall-Neal is the Grand Rapids Public Schools Superintendent. She's providing innovative leadership through her listening tour, attendance challenge, and Parent University.
Teresa's leadership has been absolutely phenomenal.
She really got out and she made connections with every single school, introduced herself, listened to teachers and parents who were highly critical of the school district.
She says all the time, these are our kids. And I think she's really helped us be our best selves.
She is the very best. She is the Michael Jordan of superintendents. I firmly believe that.
The way I came to DRPS is as a student, first of all. I started at Madison Park Elementary School and at the age of 4.5, and I've just stayed. So in order to make connections with the community, I had to first of all be willing to listen. That's the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it wasn't something I could ask my cabinet members to do or other employees to do. I had to be the person to go and listen to people. A parent came up with the idea of a parent university. We offer classes in 4 different areas across the city around Parent University, and it is giving parents a voice. So it could be around attendance and finance and how to navigate schools. Just at church yesterday, a grandmother came to me and said, I only have 1 grandchild in your school system, but we need help with 5th grade math. I don't know how to help them. And 2 of her grandkids go to Forest Hills, but you know what? Good for that grandmother. We need an educated community. And so this fall, we will put something together around 5th grade math, right? We need to be responsible for what we're teaching and for people in this community. And that's what Parent University allows us to do. It really is ran by the parents. You tell us what you need. So whether it was a grandmother yesterday that came up to me and said, this is what I need help with. Where do I find that? And I thought, you know what a great idea. That grandmother had the audacity to come to me to tell me, but there are others that may not have access to me. And so let's put something together around homework and how do we teach grandparents and parents to work with their kids. I love it because it's owned by the parents. But again, we have to be open. I can't tell them what's best for them, right? But I want to hear you. What do you need from me? Many years ago, and this was my first experience with someone deciding to drop out of school. And probably the first person that I ever knew that actually dropped out of school, because school was easy for me and I was very successful at it. But we were sitting on pillars. It was after school at my middle school, which is now the Gerald R. Ford. Actually, it's a Job Corps, but it was South Middle School. And we were very close. We still are very close. And she told me, you can have everything in my locker today. And, you know, we were only in the 8th grade. And I said, well, why is that? And she said, because I'm not coming back after today. And I said, oh, that's not true. You know, your mom's not going to allow you to do that. You'll be back. And she said, no, really, I'm not coming back after today. And from that day to this one, and it's been about 45 years or more, she made a decision in the 8th grade that school wasn't right for her, and she never went back. And I think for me, it's just, I can remember it as clear as day. I can tell you I had on a yellow jacket and she had on a purple one. It was that clear, right, that I can remember for someone to make the decision that they're not going to go any further in school. And I'm still very close with her, was with her very recently, will be with her this weekend. But I didn't look at it as a failure for her. That was when that click came to me. As a system, school failed her. It wasn't that she failed school, right? And so it was a very defining moment, I think, in my life. And that's why I work so hard to make it work for every child, because we can't fail these children. It isn't okay. It isn't okay, and it wasn't then that we allowed her to walk out that door. But it's for children like that we have to do this work. It's for those that have the least. I was going to be successful in school no matter where I went to school. I love school, right? I followed rules. I knew how to do it. I was good at writing papers, you know, all of that. So we can't be impressed by those that are going to make it in spite of us, right? Impress me with those that may not make it. That's the challenge in education. That's the challenge. How do we re-engage people in this community.
Now that you've seen West Michigan's education champions at work, see how other champions are engaging youth across the nation by visiting AmericanGraduate.org. For all of us here at WGVU Public Media, I'm Patrick Center. Thank you for watching.